had an interesting discussion? These discussions will help you in the case presentation, all right. So, we have already discussed whilst we are discussing emergent leader or what is the other one, and that is the appointed leadership, all right. So, leader is selected by an authority outside the group, and the group may not accept him as a person, we also discussed this, but would accept him in the role of a leader because he is appointed, can't do very much about it. His acceptance as a person would be dependent on his style and interpersonal relationship. So, the most ideal case is if you have an appointed leader who also has a style of leadership and skills of interpersonal relations, which would have made him eligible even to be accepted and appointed by his own group. That is the most ideal case. That is what you should strive for. The appointed leader is normally appointed for a function or a task and not because of his leadership attributes. This is very important, isn't it? In every organization, company, any organization, even educational, when you are an appointed leader, you are appointed for a task. It is very clear to you why you are appointed. It is not because of your interpersonal skills. Most probably why you are appointed is because you have the qualifications, you have the experience, you have a track record where you have done good performance. So, it is essentially task and performance orientated kind of an appointment where you have met success in the past. So, it is assumed that if you are appointed in this organization, in this position, you will also succeed on that basis. In this context, which context? The appointed leader context, all right. Leadership is looked upon as those acts which when performed gives the preferred outcome for the group. Now, what does it mean? What does that mean? It means that what he is supposed to do, right, if he does it, he is looked upon as being a good leader. If he has to make 15% increase in profits for the company next year and he does 20%, the outcome, he is considered, he has provided good leadership, an appointed leader. Such acts are called group functions. So, when that happens, who gets the credit? The appointed leader or the group? Both. Why are you so diffident, timid? You are not sure about it. Say loudly. Both. Why both?
Sir, because without group effort, the leader couldn't have achieved these goals. Without the leadership,
Quite right. Quite right. Because of the effort. Anything else? There is something else. Because of the goals. You know, when the task is given, the profit of 15%, is it only given to the leader? No, it is given to the whole group, isn't it? So, therefore, it is a group function in that sense. The entire group has to give that outcome, and the leader gives some inputs to that outcome, but so do the other group members. And then here the leader normally exert more influence than the other members of the group. When he says more influence, what does it mean? That means he has got decisional authorities, all right, which are a little more than other members of the group. He can allot resources, see, which others cannot. So, in that sense he can influence them more, but he is still part of the group. One view holds that any member of group exerts leadership to the extent that he is responsible for modifying the properties of the group. What does that mean? You have a group of 10 members, let us say. This view holds that out of the 10, there is one member who is the manager or the leader, okay? The others are within that department. But any of those 9 members exerts leadership, that means he can play a role of leadership to the extent that he is responsible for modifying the properties of the group. Properties of the group. Say one property, what could that be? One property of the group could be that the group normally used to be told what is to be done by the leader, and that's how the group acted. Say one member of the group, he could bring about a change, and what was that change? That there should be meetings every month, and at the meeting there should be some agreement and consensus in what is to be done. What has he done in effect? He has exerted some influence which changes a character of working, right, which may be termed as property of the group. When he does that, his very process of doing it has been one which is a leadership role. This is the view which is held. How many of you hold this view? It feels good, no, that you may not be the head of the department, but you can play a leadership role at times, isn't it? When you give suggestions to your boss and he says it's a good suggestion and he implements it, don't you feel good? What have you done? You have influenced the group. In that sense, you have played a leadership role. You could have been sitting in the boss's chair and brought in the same outcome which he has accepted from you. So, another tip I will give you, if you want to rise in your career, always try to play a leadership role, and one way to do it is always to try and put yourself in the functions of your boss. One day if you want to be aspiring to fill that function, how best he can do it. If you were him, give him those suggestions, and that is one way, one frame of mind which you do throughout your career. You will find your sights are not down, your sights are up. Whatever is the role which your boss does, try to help him to perform that role.
Isn't that affect the performance of that employee?
Yeah, it affects very much it affects.
No, sir, what I am trying to say is that if he tries to put himself in the shoes of his boss.
Yes, not shoes. No,
That's the role of boss.
no. You got it wrong. Not even slippers. What he tries to do, no. What he tries to do is, say his boss has a set of functions, he has a set of functions, right? He tries to help the boss to perform the boss's function better, not to usurp his functions, to assist him. Can you give an example? No, you. Yeah.
Taking initiative for anyone. So like if there is an order or if there is a project, sir, then taking initiative, preparing the proposal for that project, then be the work that you are thinking that boss will ask you for this work. So in a way you are doing that work in advance. Or
Good example. He proact. Don't wait for him to tell you. Proact. Don't react.
There might be a situation
Yeah.
where in the enthusiasm of doing jobs like this, you might be taking some risks. What I mean by that is you might sign on behalf of the company somewhere where your boss should sign.
Sure.
And if something goes wrong, if your boss would have signed, the collective effort by the upper management, which would have come as a savior, may not come in your case.
No, it will come. A good management will support. Even if you have done wrong, they'll support you, but blow you up, and it may affect your next year's reward, or it may not affect, because many good managements, they appreciate this kind of initiative. You see, what could be worst thing in a manager this is a view held by many top management, is for a senior manager to be risk averse. That means you are unwilling to take a risk. That is the worst situation that can happen, because that just freezes up the entire company. See, the business of business is risk taking basically, is it not? What is entrepreneurship? Taking risks when you see an opportunity. And each of us has what I always call it a risk coefficient. That is the degree to which you are willing to take a risk, and it is in all walks of life. Usually those who succeed in business, all right, research has shown, they are the people who take acceptable and considered risks, not rash. Analyze, get your facts, and then take a risk. Without risk taking, you are not a leader, you have to take risks. But do not try to do the boss's job, help him to do the job. Huh? Okay. Now, according to this view, group functions are leadership functions. Any questions? There is another aspect of leadership which is very, very important, and how you emerge, and that depends on trust. Now, every one of us is clear about what trust means. Huh? Can anyone venture a definition of what is trust? Why are you smiling, Polash? What is trust? Definition, huh? Thinking of a definition. Belief. So it's a belief. It's not a feeling. It's a belief. That's very good. Belief. It is a belief. That
the way I think of.
That other persons will act in a particular way. Can you amplify it a little? I can see everyone is thinking hard.
It's something like, for example,
You trust me. When will you trust me? Let's make it simple. You repose faith in me. Repose faith. What does that mean? It means you come and tell me, sir, I repose faith in you. What does that mean? Huh? Actually, reposing faith, trusting someone, is the belief, the strong belief, that that person is your well-wisher, will not harm you in an opportunistic manner. Okay. If you do a wrong thing, he will punish you. Okay. But for extraneous reasons, some selfish reasons, he will not harm you. That is faith. Whom do you trust most? Your near and dear relatives, right or wrong? Why? Will they harm you? What do you feel? You feel they won't harm you. Huh? Isn't that why you trust them? Say your own brother. If you did something wrong, you are in a little bit of a jam, you will go and tell him, "Hey bhaiya, this is what has happened." Why will you tell him? If you didn't trust him, will you tell him? Because the moment you tell him that, you become vulnerable, you are telling him something which can get you into trouble, but you have told him that. What happens then? You trust him. 30 years along the line, you are married, your brother is married, you are 60 years old, he is 65 years old, and then the parents are no more, the property is inherited by both the brothers. Do you still trust him? Think about it. Have you heard of property squabbles In best of families? Mahabharat, yes. Mahabharat, that's right. But not going into such exalted heights, I am saying average middle class families too, these things happen. Yeah, these are all big families. Big families, it happens all the time, isn't it? Where there is money, lot of wealth, it happens. Then loss of trust happens among siblings. But even in small families, just for a house or something, how much loss of trust and faith and squabbling goes on? Now, as a manager, coming now down to earth into a managerial setting, do you think trust is important for leadership? Very much. Who should trust you? Your subordinates, superiors, peers, who should trust you? Everybody. But how can you make that happen? You have to be a goody-goody, just do what everyone wants you to do. Is that your role as a manager? Can you succeed? Primarily subordinate.
People did not know about you much. People from the other department did not know about you much. The reason being, if there is a
Well, if they don't know about you, Gaurav, the chances are they may trust you because they don't know much about you, or they may not trust you, right? Why this sudden show of mirth, Niraj? You see, what we are debating is that out of this trust, three levels. One is your peers, subordinates and superiors. According to Gaurav's view, most important is to have the trust of your subordinates. And the next is of superiors. And last is peers. Doesn't really matter, even if they don't trust you. Actually, I mean, I think it is infructuous to debate this point. Basically, if you are trusted, then you are trusted. I mean, it can't be a little trust or more trust. But if you are trusted, all right, the chances are you will be trusted across the board. So, leadership and trust, we agreed, are inextricably linked with each other. Can't separate the two. You won't accept someone as a leader, all right, in your heart of hearts, truly, unless you trust him. He may be appointed leader, okay, you can't do anything about it. But in times of trouble, all right, there are many occasions when people in times of trouble come to their manager, not as the boss, but come to him as a human being to take advice. If that happens, then you can feel good about it, because that means he has come because he trusts you to give good advice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to you. Okay. When one person or when one trusts a person, it is because of the positive expectation that person will not take advantage of him by using knowledge which has been disclosed to him. Knowledge is power. You have heard about that. Knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you a lot of power. That's why in many bad managers, poor managers, they withhold all the knowledge within themselves. They don't part with it, even to their subordinates, because they feel insecure. Subordinates may do better than them. You have had that experience in companies? Not much. You are lucky. What happens when you have a boss who's like that? What is your strategy? Boss's boss? That's one strategy, yes. What else? You have forgotten what was taught in this subject, individual and group behavior? Boss's boss is one, yes. What else? There are many ways in which you can politic, isn't it? Maybe you do some politicking. You try and acquire power, which gives you influence to get yourself promoted. The concept of trusting a person is a willingness to take risk with him vis-a-vis your vulnerability. Any questions? No questions. Look at this. This is some of the components of trust. Integrity, competence, consistency, loyalty, and openness. What is integrity? Basic honesty and moral character, that is integrity. Competence in the knowledge, in skills. When will you trust someone who has competence in knowledge and skills? Example? Rohit, give me an example. You are taking a flight from Delhi to Omaha, Nebraska. You have that commander, the pilot, who's flying the aeroplane. Do you trust him? If you didn't, would you take that flight? You won't take the flight. Why do you trust him? He has got the competence, skill. You believe that, no? This is not a fly-by-night airlines. It's a good, I don't know, which airlines do you fly? Northwest?
Northwest KLM.
KLM, all right. KLM not doing too well, but Northwest is all right. So that's it. You know the skill, and you have faith and trust in the competence. Loyalty, ability to stand up for a person at the risk of personal harm. That begets trust, huh? Can you give me an example? Your manager, all right? How do you, and you have subordinates under you, how do you get trust from them? They are loyal to you. What happens then? You have recommended for a promotion which you strongly believe you should get, is turned down by your boss. And what do? You say, boss, I disagree with you. I want your permission to approach your boss because I am going to fight for this. Moment you say that, what are you doing? Putting yourself in jeopardy, right? But why are you doing it? Because you have a loyal subordinate who trusts you. You can't let him down. Will you do it sometime in your career? Or you'll simply come and say, look, hum kya karega? I recommended you. But boss turned it down. What can I do?
I tell my boss that I'm going to your boss to fight my subordinates.
All right, I'm doing it to make my point.
Okay.
But my point is, there are many occasions, you see, when you have to support your own people in your department. And in doing so, you may have the risk of some personal harm. But a lot of us still do it because we believe we can't let down people. Yeah, we won't do it so blatantly, our permission and all, but if you are in a government organization as a manager, you'll have to do it because they have, through proper channel you have to go, no? You will make an application. And in any case, if you are in government organization or public sector and you apply to another public sector, they won't accept your application unless it comes through proper channel. That means you have to go to your boss and say, I want to quit this job. Well, you don't say that. You say, I want to apply. So why do you want to apply? You say for better prospects, because that is standard phrase, right? Or personal problem. What problem? Some personal problem you cook up. Openness, no propensity to hide facts and use deceit. In your own class, You must be having your opinion of guys who are open, straight, and guys who are a little tricky, not to be trusted. It happens all the time, isn't it? We always have opinions. Moment we discuss, we have opinions to express, and sometimes we express an opinion about someone which is derogatory, and we find out at our cost after a few weeks that it has reached his ears. So then you try and figure out, all right, in that discussion, who were there? So, okay, Palash was there, Gaurav was there, Neeraj. Who could have carried that tale, and told, Ashutosh or someone? And then what happens? You feel that this guy, I thought was a regular guy, one of these guys at least, but it isn't. One of these chaps are deceitful. He hides, he's not that open. He pretends he's my friend, he's not my friend. So you stop trusting him. So that's also one of the points. Any questions? All right. So we all agree that trust is foundation of leadership. It's a very, very basic, very basic. Trust and credibility. If you lose trust and credibility in any person or institution, all right, that's the end. In an organization, there's a phrase, some of you have worked. Have you heard of the phrase called discharge simpliciter? Latin words. Discharge simpliciter. No one has heard? Discharge. It's nothing to do with a battery. Discharge simpliciter. What does that mean? It means simply sacked. Simply sacked. Without making any bones about it. Simply sacked. Now, what is the implication of this? In your own managerial ranks, say you find that one of your managers, say you are general manager, you find one of your managers, all right, has been cheating, let's say your purchase manager, all right. There are reports from suppliers who have given some proof, but that proof you cannot, it's not strong enough to prove in a court of law or in an internal inquiry, but there is substantial evidence that the guy has been cheating the company. So you call him and say, look here, Mr. So and so, I know that you have been doing things which you would not tell your mother. You would be ashamed to tell your mother. And I can only give you this pad. Just write your resignation here, say for personal reasons, and I drop the matter. If you don't, I will give you a letter of termination today. Then he says, why sir, and all that. If he is blasé, if he is not, he takes the pad, writes it down and goes away, because you have told him what it's about. This is discharge simpliciter means what? It means I can't work with you anymore because I have lost my trust in you. Now, normally by Indian law, you cannot discharge anyone unless he is guilty and proven so. And you cannot prove someone guilty unless you hold a fair enquiry, all right. But many managements say, so far as managerial ranks are concerned, they are not unionized people. They can go to court, they are a citizen of India, but still they say it is better if you have the slightest doubt about integrity and honesty of a manager to simply sack him. If he comes later through courts, we will fight it, but sack him, because you can't work with him anymore. How can you trust him? So, trust is the very foundation of leadership. People emerge as leaders by gaining acceptance and loyalty of others on the basis of their trust in him through association and direct experience. All right? Yes?
Honesty towards who? I mean, in the sense, there have been occasions when, I don't want to name, but
Don't name anything.
example like
There is a law also, which is a law of defamation. I'll tell you about it later. Huh?
say a person, there are Indian organizations which I feel because of the real-time examples which we could see, which would quite happily employ Kenneth Lay, who was the ex-CEO of Enron, because of his other skills, not necessarily the skills which because of which he is in soup now, but because of his other skills.
Right.
So in an absolute sense, he doesn't have integrity and he is not honest. Because he was working for his own gain and people who are close to him, they gain for all this view. But his other skills, level of other skills was extremely high,
Yeah.
which some organizations might find very useful. And they might not divulge the information publicly that we have recruited Kenneth Lay.
I got your point. I got your point. So your question is that why is he being recruited? If he is not honest, and he isn't,
In the absolute sense.
is it that, your question, I am reframing, is it that honesty and integrity is not that important to be in a leadership position? That's the question. Even skills and expertise without honesty and integrity can also get you leadership. Who would like to respond to that?
That won't last long.
Won't last long. Who said that? Why? Why won't it last long? Because he'll cheat the next fellow. Right? Right or wrong? Yeah, I'm helping you to answer. He has skills, you take him, he uses his skill not for your profit, he uses his skill to cheat you and go away. I think that he has given you a powerful answer. Huh? Honesty and integrity are most important traits for building trust and in consequence for being accepted as a leader. What respect do you have for your boss who is making money? Do you have any respect? You accept him as a boss, but you talk about him without any respect when you are in a social setting, is it not? But if you have a boss whom you really respect because you trust him, he has integrity, he has honesty, there have been occasions when others have toed the line, but he has not. In times of emergency, which Indira Gandhi had called, what happened? Large number of people, they simply toed the line, no? And did things which were patently wrong, they knew it. But there were also refreshing examples of bureaucrats and other people who stood their ground and said, sorry, we will not do it. Don't you respect a man like that? Even if you toe the line, I put it to you, will you not respect such a person? That I wouldn't do it, I am scared to do it, but I respect the guy who can do that. So it's very fundamental. Trust opens the door of people to sharing their knowledge and creative thinking with the leaders and helps them thus to solve problems more effectively. Now this is a very practical thing. If your people, your subordinates and you are the manager, they trust you, it has a practical advantage. They will come and share, many heads are better than one head, they will share what they know. It helps you as a group to do the job better. You can't do it on your own. Any questions? Any provocative questions? Gaurav? I appreciate that because, it wakes up people, creates a little bit of discussion. No questions? What, Asif? Huh? Feeling little sleepy? No? If you are feeling sleepy, my tip is ask a question immediately. Okay. Now, we will come to what appears to be self-evident, but lot of research has been done on it, all right. And the research has been done on two words, successful and effective. All right. Yeah, I saw you are deep in thought. I was not sure what you are thinking about, but obviously you are thinking about this. Tell me.
So you spoke so much about trust in leadership. Because trust opens doors. Now, I was wondering, trust alone can it? All you need skills. You did not speak so much about skills. And if you have skills, that gives you confidence. And that might help you share knowledge with others. I mean, you might be confident that, yes, if I trust still, no big harm can happen to me.
Well, we gave the example of the pilot of Northwest and KLM, no? Whom they trusted.
I was talking about trust and sharing knowledge. I'm saying
Everyone is listening or not? Because I'll ask you just now. You better listen.
trust alone, I don't think can open doors or make a person share knowledge.
I agree with you. You see, all these concepts which we are studying, they have to be all taken as a complex medium. Nothing is alone. For the sake of discussion, we try and isolate. All these studies, what are they trying to do? Isolate. But in the real life, they are all together, no? But remember the other thing also. Say I am a cat burglar. I am expert skill at cracking safes. Okay? In a jiffy I can rob you. Are you going to employ me as your secretary in your house if you are a wealthy man? Only on my skill? Answer is no, is it not? Because you don't trust me. So, nothing is standing alone. You have to look at it in combination. So, my answer to you is only on skill and without trust, you are not going to hire someone and put him in a leadership position at some time in your company. You know, all these particularly senior positions in industry, you will find they ask for reference. Have you noticed that? Why do people ask for reference? Two things. One is to ascertain skills, what is track record, all right? The other is also, that is unspoken. The other is to ascertain his integrity, because particularly for senior positions, you have to be very, very careful about putting honest people with integrity. Why? Answer is obvious. Because they are in a position where they can do incalculable harm to the company. If you are lower down, you don't have so much powers, but if you are higher down, by signing a check, you can move crores of rupees away, siphon it off. So, integrity is very important, and in fact, Peter Drucker has talked about it at length, saying that for senior positions, what is most important, that is his view, is integrity and honesty of the individual. Even if in the other factors by which you judge promotionability is not that much, but if he is very high on integrity, then you can, because integrity is so basic a value, see, that it can, all right, be taken as one of the pillars of your establishment. Even family run companies, don't they have few family, you know, the Birlas have it and others who are non-family members, but they have kept them like a family member. They have expertise, but that is not all. They trust them with the family money, family income. So, does that satisfy you? Huh?
I was wondering whether trust is a foundation or
Skill is a foundation. Well, my view would be trust is more basic than a skill, more basic. What is the view of the class?
So trust is arising out of the confidence in your skills.
Trust comes.
No, if I trust you, trust is something which is human, skill is something which is taught. How many of you think it is skills which are paramount, and how many think it is trust? Let us take a vote on it. Trust, 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 trust. He abstains. There are few abstentions. Huh? So you are abstaining. You have ambivalent feelings here, right? He is abstaining. I think it's trust, basically. You will find it out as you go along. I mean, we are doing an intellectual and cerebral exercise, but there are emotions involved here. When you don't trust a guy, he may be very, very skilled. Huh? Tell me.
I would rather define it as a function of skill of a person in his work. I mean, this is the organizational aspect. I am not considering out of the office. When I consider a person, whether he is superior or junior to me, my trust in him is totally a function of his skill in the work that is given to him to do.
Whereas it is not totally, it is very much a function. You trust him in doing certain things well, reliably, because he has the knowledge and expertise. But we are talking of trust vis-a-vis integrity and honesty. You may be the most skilled person, you understand, but if you are not honest, all right, you are a great software guy, but if you hack and make money from your own bank account, then what are you going to do with that guy? I think trust is very, very basic, and in any case you are outvoted because rest of the class failed. But I respect your honest, all right, difference in view, and I am willing to debate it after class. Okay? After class. Yes?
Honesty, integrity and trust go hand in hand. Because there might be situations.
Give me an example, let me answer without listening further to your question. Can you give me an example where it does not go hand in hand? Then we will debate it.
There can be situations in an individual capacity the person is not very honest. But when he is working in an organization, at that position, because of his skills, he is being trusted. So here it doesn't necessarily mean that if he is honest, then only you can trust him.
Well, what is the response of the
So
class?
you'll find a closed circuit camera over his head all the times. So that will the trust company will have in him.
Well, these huge department stores, they don't trust the public. Don't they have notices there? This showroom is under surveillance. There is warning shoplifters, no? That you take care because we are watching you. Coming back to what he said, I mean, a human being is a holistic kind of person. Do you think it's possible that you switch off and become very honest and trustworthy when you go to the company, or vice versa, and when you come home you have absolute integrity? Does it sound? We are not compartmentalized, isn't it? We are so much the creature of a combination, all right, of views, attitudes, values, traits, attributes. So I think generally it is accepted the world over that what you are in one setting, all right, and I am talking of primary and basic traits and values, primary and basic, fundamental. What you are in one setting, you will carry over to the other setting. That is accepted. Now, we don't have time to start another topic. We will talk of activities of manager next time. And then Francis, have you got the groups in place, or I can? All right.